Hi, I'm Josh, the dad of hobbies. Today's hobby, emotional roadside assistance, which I realize sounds a little silly. So between my own ADHD and somewhat autistic brain and just the general way in which I respond poorly sometimes to high emotional situations, I have really tried to work on finding ways that I can be more receptive and listen better. Because if you ask my wife, my mother, my daughter, my friends, my coworkers, my family, anybody that's talked to me for more than 30 seconds, I don't always respond well when there's a high emotional state. Blame that on whatever you want, autism, ADHD, being a guy, whatever. The point is, I'm trying to fix it. And so I have developed what works for me as a good response for when these situations come up and I'm not sure how to respond, right? My inclination is, of course, to always want to solve whatever the problem is. That's not always necessary or needed or even appreciated, right? So I've come up with what I call the emotional roadside assistance, or AAA, right? So AAA roadside assistance, you can see where I got that from. And it's advice, affirmation, or affection. So somebody says something to me that has them in a high emotional state, I can respond with, would you like advice, affirmation, or affection? Advice is, here's how I will help solve the problem. Here's what I believe you should do, or here's what I would do, or here's how I believe I can step in and help, right? Actual solution-based advice. Affirmation, I hear you. That sucks. I'm sorry. That's frustrating. Something that shows that you're actively listening, gives the person a sense of validation. And then affection. Affection obviously is dependent on what the person wants to receive. Affection can be anything from a pat on the shoulder and a hug to just, I hear you and I'm here for you. I'm sorry you're going through that. Don't worry, you're strong. You'll get through this. Or, hey, it's really not that bad. Here's why. Not platitudes. You're not going to patronize them. It shows you care and support them in a way that is genuine. And that's the key here. Whatever one you're offering, when you ask, would you like advice, affirmation, or affection, and they tell you which one they want, you have to be genuine in that response. You have to be sincere. Otherwise, you're either back where you started or you've damaged whatever that relationship is. But for me, asking the AAA, the emotional roadside assistance, gives me a clear path to being able to do something that is effective. I know what I can do to help, regardless of what that may be, and it gives the person what they want. And it also doesn't create the ambiguous, oh, let me know how I can help, because that sort of puts the responsibility on them again when they're already in distress. You're offering three very clear things that lets them focus. They pick the one they want. You offer it sincerely. Everybody feels better at the end. Sometimes it's pretty obvious what someone wants. You don't always have to ask this, but if you are in a situation where you're stuck and you don't know how to respond, I have found that what I'm referring to as the emotional roadside assistance can really make a difference. So that's it. That's today's hobby. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see what hobby we get into next.